Welcome. Congratulations on becoming candidates for a new housekeeper. Unfortunately, the previous housekeeper had to leave due to personal reasons. The police are still looking for the body. For this job, an interview will not be necessary. We only ask if you can follow 5 simple rules. Rule number 1. You must keep the home clean at all times. Even if you've finished your task for the day, it's recommended that you make yourself look busy. Failure to follow this means instant termination. Rule number 2. You must be willing to work 18 hours a day including weekends and holidays. You cannot return home even after all your tasks are complete. Rule number 9. Rule number 3. Do not make eye contact with the headmaster's wife. If she is in the area, immediately make your way to a safe location. Be sure to finish your task beforehand. Rule number 4. You must be willing to offer parts of yourself for consumption. Rule number 5. You must obey all your master's commands in any capacity including sexual. If they request to consume every part of you, please listen to them. For the sake of all of us.
Evil is often understood as the intentional or malevolent act or mindset that seeks to harm, oppress, or cause suffering to others. It can manifest in various forms, such as greed, arrogance, or a desire for power. Speaking of which, arrogance often accompanies a lust for power, as individuals may believe that they are entitled to control or dominate others. This arrogance can lead to the justification of evil actions in the pursuit of that power, as individuals prioritize their own desires over the rights and needs of others. Furthermore, the desire for power can fuel evil acts, as individuals may resort to manipulation, exploitation, or violence to achieve their goals. This can perpetuate a cycle of oppression and suffering, driven by a relentless pursuit of dominance. There are 3 characters in particular that embody these traits: Ryomen Sukuna, the King of Curses; Kibutsuji Muzan, the progenitor of demons; and Dio Brando, the Prince of Vampires. All 3 characters have 2 things in common that ties them together, and that is their complete disregard for human life and their sheer arrogance. They believe themselves to be superior life forms whose only goals are to subjugate humanity. They believe they can kill anyone they want, lust after anyone they want, and destroy anything they want, all without any consequences. And unfortunately, they have the necessary amount of power to take the world or reduce it to ashes. Although each of them have been terrorizing the world for hundreds, thousands of years, they aren't tyrants, they aren't even evil. Instead, they are walking and talking calamities who have an overwhelming sense of self, attempting to destroy any trace of good in the world. To them, humans are weak creatures that only exist for them to toy with or consume. So with that said, what if these 3 calamities were to come into conflict? Who would come out on top and become the god of destruction in our modern world?
許可なく見上げるな。不愉快だ。小僧。
Ryomen Sukuna, also known as the King of Curses, is a legendary cursed spirit or sorcerer in the world of JJK. He was an extraordinarily strong and notorious sorcerer who terrorized the world many years ago. Sukuna was known for his ruthlessness and strength, having amassed a vast amount of terrifying power. Even when Sukuna disappeared from the world, his presence could still be felt. There are 3 critical reasons Sukuna has become such a terrifying force: his mind, his body, and his technique. Starting with his mind, Sukuna may be the smartest sorcerer in the entire series, at least when it comes to the art of sorcery. He used the 10 Shadows technique in incredibly innovative ways, such as using Max Elephant's water to mimic piercing blood. He learned how to turn himself into a cursed object after seeing Kenjaku do it once. He knew his domain would destroy Gojo's domain due to it being barrierless. He used Mahoraga as a reference point to create the world-cutting slash, and he altered the rules of his domain several times in one encounter. This high level of intellect and knowledge on the art of Jujutsu only further enhances his destructive skill set. In terms of body, Sukuna's body has literally been called perfection. He has 4 arms, 2 mouths, and 3 eyes, each having a unique role. His 4 arms give him more options in close quarters combat, as he can attack, block, perform hand signs, or fight several people at once, all at the same time. The second mouth allows Sukuna to chant incantations during a fight, which basically allows him to prepare a powerful attack in the heat of battle. And the third eye, gives him better vision, I guess, allowing him to better analyze his surroundings. Sukuna's body heavily complements his physical stats. He has immense strength, putting him far above characters like Akari, Toji, and Yuji, who can shatter concrete with a single strike, or destroy entire buildings with a casual blow. His strength is so immense that he can send you flying through buildings in a single blow. His speed is even more impressive. Sukuna once again scales above characters who can react to Mach 3 and Piercing Blood, who move faster than sound, and if rumors are to be believed, he can react to electromagnetic waves, which move as fast as light. Sukuna's cursed energy is the most crucial part of his body. With it, Sukuna has access to immense cursed energy reserves, which takes a really long time to run out. He uses it for RCT, which heals all his injuries almost instantly, and he uses it for reinforcement, allowing him to basically tank a cursed energy nuke, which destroyed parts of an entire city. The aspect of Sukuna's character that makes him truly dangerous is his curse technique, Shrine, which comes in 2 forms, his slashes and his fire arrow. His slashes are split into 2 categories, cleave and dismantle. Dismantle is the most basic aspect of his ability. Basically, Sukuna can send out invisible slashing attacks that rip apart and destroy anything they come in contact with. These slashes pack a ton of power, as they can destroy entire buildings. They can move at incredible speeds, moving fast enough that most barely have time to dodge. Sukuna can send out a wave of slashes and spam them out, turning anyone in their path to dust. The slashes are also surprisingly versatile. Sukuna can surround his body with slashes, which protects him from incoming attacks. Sukuna can create a net of slashes that trap foes within them. And finally, Sukuna can change the nature of his slashes, giving them different properties. The most notable is a World Cutting Slash, which cuts space and existence itself, bypassing defensive abilities like Gojo's Infinity. Sukuna's second slashing attack is Cleave, which adjusts itself to the opponent's toughness and cursed energy. In other words, it bypasses durability. The second aspect of Sukuna's Shrine technique is Fuga, a fire-based ability which Sukuna can mold and twist into any shape. The flames are incredibly hot, being capable of burning Jogo to death, who is literally a cursed spirit that can control fire. So that should tell you how powerful these flames are. The flames can also generate a giant explosion, which covers several city blocks all at once. However, his slashing techniques and fire ability all pale in comparison to his domain expansion. Malevolent Shrine instantly vaporizes any living and non-living thing in its radius. Those caught within are relentlessly attacked by slashing attacks on all sides. And because the domain utilizes Cleave, your durability will be useless. Once Sukuna opens Malevolent Shrine, any sorcerer not named Satoru Gojo will be cooked. I haven't even mentioned the fact that Sukuna has access to the 10 Shadows technique and all the Shikigami it possesses. There's for instance Nue, who can conjure entire lightning storms. However, the most dangerous aspect of his technique is Mahara, who can adapt to any null phenomena. So once it takes an attack, the wheel on its back will turn and will become immune to his opponent's abilities or develop a counter to it. The 10 Shadows combined with Shrine, combined with Sukuna's physical stats, combined with his intellect, truly solidifies his place as the strongest sorcerer in history.
何を見ている? いいね。不死身。不老不死。Stand power!
Dio, the loved and most hated adopted member of the Joestar family. From the very beginning, Dio had the makings of a king, whether it be his cunning mind, his mischievous plans, or his sense of style. Dio himself believed in his king-like status, which resulted in his highly arrogant behavior. It doesn't help that these beliefs were further bolstered when he put on the stone mask, granting him incredible power. Dio was now a vampire, and thus possessed all their abilities. His most basic has massively improved strength and speed, which is enough to not alive your average man in a single strike, or lift an entire road roller like it's nothing. Dio has more impressive supernatural abilities, like shooting lasers from his eyes, capable of destroying everything they touch. Dio can conjure ice, mainly by touching an object and freezing them solid. Dio can mind control weak-willed targets simply by looking at them. Dio can somehow create chimeras. Dio can walk on walls, defying gravity. Dio can forcefully take over one's body. Dio can grant other humans his powers, both living and dead, allowing him to create weaker vampires or raising the dead, some of which have unique abilities and are incredibly intelligent. Dio is virtually unkillable, as he's immortal and can heal from any injury, no matter how severe. Being a vampire pretty much makes him superior to all kinds of beings you can think of, besides Pillarmen. However, even with these vampiric abilities, it looks like child's play compared to a stand. Dio's stand, the world, has the ability to stop time. When his ability activates, everything that abides by the flow of time will cease to move, including living organisms and inanimate objects. Only Dio and his stand from this point onward can move within stop time. This means that he can still grab and manipulate objects within stop time. Dio can still exert forces like momentum on anything he touches. For example, if he throws a fork within stop time, that fork now has built up momentum that is currently frozen in time, but this momentum will soon be released when time stop ends. There's no limit to how many objects Dio can manipulate or how large the objects he's trying to manipulate is. The ability to exert forces basically allows Dio to one-shot anyone who opposes him. After all, nobody but Dio himself can witness stop time. To an outside observer, it looks like Dio and the objects he manipulates are teleporting, making it almost impossible to predict his next move. So this makes time stop an undefendable power. Time stop can only be used for upwards of 10 seconds, but this is only temporary. As the time limit increases, the more power Dio obtains. Another aspect that makes time stop so dangerous is that it can basically be spammed. The limit to the ability may be 10 seconds, but the cooldown period seems to be less than 5 seconds at most. Because Dio can activate the ability only seconds after its last use, the only weakness of time stop is that its activation can be interrupted if the opponent were to strike Dio before the ability activates. In terms of physical stats, the world is on par with Star Platinum, which means it can keep a road roller in the air simply by punching it, send great white sharks flying with a single punch, bend steel with its bare hands, punch through human beings without effort, rip through metal doors, destroy entire buildings casually, and chuck large structures as if they were made of feathers. The stand's greatest asset would be its speed. It can likely keep up with and even surpass Silver Chariot in speed, a stand which can move massively faster than sound, and has shown the ability to react to and attack beams of light, meaning that the world can not only move faster than sound, but also potentially has light speed levels of reaction time and maybe movement. No human is born evil. The only thing that shapes them is their environment and their physical and societal circumstances. Born with an incredibly weak body but a rich upbringing, his weak body took priority over his status, and as such, Muzan has always been an incredibly selfish and frankly evil man. Patience is one of his weaknesses, as he didn't hesitate to kill his doctor when the medicine he created to cure him didn't work. However, as it turns out, the medicine was slow acting, and with it, Muzan turned into a being of immense power. Muzan was now a demon, an entity with cursed blood. As a demon, Muzan only seeked one goal: to become truly immortal. One way he achieves this is through the aforementioned cursed blood. When Muzan injects his blood into a human, he can create powerful and feral demons. Each demon possesses immense power, being much stronger than your average man. They also come in many shapes and sizes. Some demons have supernatural abilities called blood demon arts that allow them to conjure lightning, travel through pocket dimensions, and control razor-sharp wires. There are 12 demons in particular that Muzan created to be especially powerful, called the 12 Demon Moons. each of which has enough power to destroy the Demon Slayer core almost entirely by themselves. There's for example Kokushibo, who has his own devastating breathing technique. Muzan has complete control over these demons, being able to see into their memories, see through their very eyes, and kill them instantly. However, despite how powerful the demons are, Muzan seems incredibly simple by comparison. Even his blood demon art is simply the ability to create thorn-like structures. However, where Muzan's power truly lies is bodily manipulation. He's able to morph and reshape parts of his own body to an immense degree, to the point where he can explode into thousands of meaty chunks and reform later. Muzan has the ability to greatly expand both his arms. He can change the shape of his hands into blade-like protrusions that he can wield like a whip. Muzan's arm whips also have multiple mouths full of deadly teeth. This also extends his striking range. His attacks move faster than the eye can see, as the Demon Slayers were forced to dodge on instinct due to not being able to perceive his attacks. Some of these Slayers had access to the marks, which are meant to increase their senses and physical stats, and even that barely helped. Muzan was also able to kill dozens of Demon Slayers in a room at speed so fast they didn't even realize what was happening. Even when attacked by multiple Hashira at the same time, Muzan could dispatch all of them with ease. It's unknown how fast he's moving exactly, but judging from the fact that Zenitsu was struggling to fight him, the same dude who reacted to lightning, it's safe to say that Muzan's attacks move beyond that speed. His attacks are already fast and deadly enough, but what makes them even worse is the fact that he can infuse his blood into his attacks, which can cause those that get hit to turn into demons or outright die from the overdose. On top of all these abilities, Muzan has an immense healing factor, allowing him to regenerate from any wound, no matter how fatal, such as decapitation. In fact, since Muzan can only really be killed through sunlight, most people don't have a lot of options to take him down. Muzan also has multiple sets of the same organ, making it even more difficult to kill him. You could remove his head and he'd still fight, like if everything was normal. The protagonists of Demon Slayer had to be breathing a sigh of relief, as they fought a heavily nerfed version of Muzan. Otherwise, the story would have ended in seconds. But you know who Muzan wouldn't stand a chance against, even if he wasn't nerfed? Dio, the Prince of Vampires. I mean, it's pretty obvious why. Remember, the stand scales to another stand that can react to and attack light. Muzan would be incredibly slow in the eyes of Dio. Muzan's blood probably wouldn't even work on Dio, since Dio's already a similar type of entity who's also capable of creating powerful foot soldiers and morphing his own biology. The biggest hurdle for Dio would be Muzan's demon moons, but they can easily be countered with Time Stop. When it activates, every demon would instantly be eviscerated in literally no time at all. However, there's one slight problem, and that is the fact that Dio will be unable to kill the demons or Muzan due to their healing factors. They cannot be killed unless exposed to sunlight, so Dio will get overwhelmed and tired out as the battle goes on. Worse yet, the demons will slowly adapt to Time Stop simply by healing after every donut Dio gives them. Not even removing their heads would stop them. Theoretically, Muzan and the demons could eventually outsmart Dio and wear him down until he meets his defeat. However, this is assuming that Dio doesn't just bring his own powerful vampire army, including figures like Vanilla Ice, who can keep the demon moons at bay while Dio focuses attention on Muzan, at least until the sun itself starts to rise. If Muzan attempts to escape using the same strategy he has in the past, Dio can stop time, use his stand's light speed movement to grab every single sack of flesh, and then hold Muzan in the sunlight until he disintegrates. However, both Dio and Muzan would stand absolutely no chance against the Honored One. Let's first focus our attention on Muzan, who will likely be a fly in the eyes of the King of Curses. It's pretty obvious that Sukuna's speed and other stats massively outscale Muzan. Muzan's blood wouldn't even work due to a combination of factors such as RCT, the fact that Muzan's immune to poisons, and the fact that Sukuna is similarly not human. He's a strange human and curse hybrid that can also change his body's biology. The only chance Muzan has of winning is jumping Sukuna with his 12 demon moons. Each of them have incredibly powerful abilities, so even Sukuna would get overwhelmed. Well, not quite, and for 3 main reasons. Sukuna can fire out his fire arrow, which can cause an incredibly powerful AoE explosion, burning each demon moon and Muzan to a crisp until there's no trace of their bodies. Sukuna can summon Mahora, who has the speed and strength necessary to completely blitz the moons, and because of his ability to adapt to phenomena, the Shikigami could adapt to the demon's healing factors and develop a way to kill them with a sword of extermination, likely giving it similar properties to Nichiren blades. But okay, let's assume that Sukuna doesn't summon Mahora, but let's assume that he doesn't use his fire arrow either. He would still easily defeat Muzan with his most powerful ability. Once the domain activates, Muzan and the demon moons will relentlessly be attacked until there's absolutely no trace of their bodies. Even in a situation where the demons can tank the domain with their powerful healing factors, Sukuna can still activate his fire arrow within the domain and spam it, vaporizing all of them in seconds. When Muzan is in Sukuna's presence, all it would take is one magic word to end everything. Dio would be the most difficult opponent for Sukuna to deal with. He first of all has a variety of abilities like laser eyes, but to be honest, I doubt those would be difficult to avoid or heal with RCT. The real threat would be the world. After all, the stand speed would give even the King of Curses a tough time. Time stop would also be a problem since there's no real counters to it. You may think this is an easy victory for Dio, but Sukuna still has in fact several ways of achieving victory. First of all again is his domain expansion. Remember, Dio's time stop ability only lasts 5 to 10 seconds. If Sukuna were to activate his domain a little before time stop activates, Dio will be caught within the domain and quickly be vaporized. And unlike Muzan, Dio's healing factor is not fast enough for him to tank the sure hit. He wouldn't be able to escape the domain's range either, since 5 to 10 seconds of time stop is not enough time to clear that distance. All it would take is one well-placed slice on Dio's neck, and it's pretty much over. Sukuna could also summon Mahora. If Dio were to attack Mahora in any way within time stop, the Shikigami would heal from its injuries and adapt to Dio's time stop ability, most likely allowing it to move within stop time. Mahora would keep Dio at bay even during time stop, giving Sukuna plenty of time to finish his chance and fire out the world-cutting slash, an attack which cuts space and existence itself, since it's implied to cut the concept of space, which encompasses time. The world slash could power through time stop and hit Dio regardless, and with Sukuna's genius level battle IQ, it wouldn't take long for him to figure out Dio's fight pattern and effectively hit him with the world slash. When Dio is slashed to tiny pieces, this four-eyed specter will be the last thing he'd ever see. Dio and Muzan would definitely put up a fight, but they don't really stand a chance against the godly powers of the true Iron One. All it would take is one well-timed domain expansion to trap them in endless misery. That's why, when unstoppable forces collide, Ryoma and Sukuna takes the W. But hey, Muzan and Dio would still put up a good fight and entertain Sukuna for a little while. At the very least, they'd hear some pretty reassuring words before their demise.